Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, and thank you very much for stopping by yet again. Some weeks ago, I had a part one video up, and part two's been a little slow. The whole process of what I was setting up at the time, plus my recovery from my illness, between the two of them, kept me pretty busy. I figured anything that could go wrong would go wrong, and I was pretty much on target with that. But we all survived it, particularly the creation of this part two, so to speak. And now I need to, I'm going to be talking about something a little bit unusual, a different approach. And will affect Panama Wave, the retirement wave, but not in a negative fashion. Any event, I'm in a privileged position, a very privileged one. I have been for 20 years. I've sat here and in restaurants and coffee houses and all places all over the city. Back when there were so many of them, now we have so many we don't know where to go. Maybe I don't know how many thousand people. Thousand. I had 43 people I met in 1 month. This is back during the booming days in the early part of this century, and it was like trying to keep up with that schedule was wild. So many things happening. Well, it's come out to a little steadier uh, count. We don't hit 43 a month. And I have a small. I don't advertise this at all. There's no advertising. People just come. If they usually the search engines or somebody else refers them to it, or they read about it somewhere else. But I'm not looking for traffic. So I don't need 43 people a month, so to speak, and I have nothing to sell them as such. We can help them, but I have friends who are actually legal real estate brokers or what have you who can deal with that and deal very successfully with it. I don't have to go and pretend that I'm one. Some people do, and it's something you've got to watch out for. So there are things to be done. I have my other interests beyond this, but this is sort of my nonprofit surface meant to be of assistance to folks like yourselves who are probably, or used to be at least, relocating to another nation for the first time. And now I get people in the second, third, and fourth runs, so it's not as common, not as uncommon as that multiple visit. But anyhow, whatever happens, happens, and I have seen changes. I mean, let's put it this way. And when I arrived in 2004, I would talk to people who were 63 years old. Around that early years, I figured 63 was about the average age I was talking to who was coming down. And that's about 20 years ago. Those folks who were 63 then are 83 now. There aren't a lot of them coming down at this stage of the game, as you can imagine. So we've gone through a major generational shift. The people who are coming in for retirement, quote unquote, or whatever it is that they want to call it, they're different. And they're not the same as the people who came down 20 years ago. It's very hard, it's been very difficult in the real estate market to get anybody to understand that things have changed, and it's more than just that. It's had its impact really in this society among younger adults, and it hasn't had. And older adults go on thinking nothing really changed at all, and when in fact it has. It's been very frustrating sometimes to get that sort of idea across to them. But this is what has happened, and I've watched that whole thing go on. And what I used to speak only to Americans and an occasional Canadian and once in a blue moon European. Now it's a mixture. I can come from anywhere. And I like that. I appreciate it. We still have plenty of Americans, but we also, Europeans, yeah. And I meet them all. I do the meeting here. I answer the emails. I do all of that. If you're looking for a home and we're helping you, then that's going to be a licensed broker who knows his way around. He's sort of the old man, the dean of real estate here, and I trust him completely. So we work together. That's the Panama Wave project. So that all goes on. But insofar as I'm concerned, this is for 20 years. I have paid for everything, even the advertising you see on YouTube. That doesn't go into me. That's YouTube runs it there because I choose not to run ads. It's very annoying. Is older visitors are well aware how annoyed I am by it. But frankly, YouTube has no competition. You just can't move to one other and expect the hundreds of millions of people come to YouTube to move with you and see you. It doesn't work that way. So suck it up, Bob. You got to have it. And I see those ads. It just drives me to distraction sometimes, but it's the way that it is. I don't get any money out of it. So the point is the whole point here is that not a single penny should ever come out of your pocket for anything. And you can't. There's no way you can send me money. There's no place to do it on the internet, and I never asked for it. However, I want to do something to help people coming down. Why? Because I see a level of tension, a level of frustration, and a level of exhaustion. So many nations have been going through political hell. I mean, politics has become poison in so many nations, and that includes many in Latin America, as well as North America, Europe, Asia, and Africa. And it seems to have determined everybody's attitude on everything, and people are looking for the knight in shining armor, I guess. The leader, the person, the individual, the ideology, the philosophy, the whatever plan, blah, 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 that's going to release them from the fears that they have. And they can find somebody perhaps that will do that for a while, but it's artificial. And I've been watching what goes on, and it's not a pleasant thing to see. I don't believe that's the best way to live your life, but some people need that. I understand it. And there are people out there very willing to be your guru and to tell you what is best for you to do with your life. I'm not that guy. So as far as I'm concerned, you're 100% responsible for your life. If I can help and I can give you feedback that's useful or something, all the better. I'm happy to do that. But don't think I'm going to figure it out for you. I'm not. You will have to. And I know how challenging it may be, and you have to start looking at things less emotionally, because politics today is all about emotion, and more analytically, and that is no room in analysis for emotion. That comes later. Analysis itself, to the extent possible, must be free of emotion. That I'll talk about in this other effort. I'm not going to get into detail now. But the key point is what I want to do is to help people see what's going on, whether it's artificial intelligence or genomics or genetics or anything else, or any of the new tech that bothers them terribly and upsets them and concerns them. I understand that. I want them to have a more balanced view of what that is all about, because it's been sensationalized to extreme extent. And I use a lot I don't use genetics, but I use artificial intelligence. I have ChatGPT 4.0, which is the latest version right at the moment. We're all waiting patiently for 5. It's code. I know what I'm dealing with, and it's been very useful. I had to learn how to work with this particular intelligence, and I've learned slowly through working very hard at it. And it even tries to help me, which is really kind of it. But basically, I'm the one who has to figure it out. And there's a lot to learn. But once you get the hang of it, then suddenly it becomes a lot easier. It's the first beginning efforts that people tend to use it like a search engine, and they don't know how to use it. So I'm going to talk a bit about that in this other area effort I'm doing. I'll talk a little bit about a lot of different things in the tech area that I don't think need to threaten anybody, but they're part of our lives and will continue to be for the rest of our lives, because they're here, they're real. Instead of, that's so concerns so many people that I've seen whole societies spend their time arguing over the past, not the future, because they don't know what to do about it. They're frightened. So they pull up arguments that they had last century and start them all over again. And why? Because they're comfortable with those. Those are old, like an old shoe or old hat or something. They really feel comfortable. They can get all emotional and angry and what have you. Um, and they don't know what to do except fear. Fear is the only thing they have left for the future attack. That's unnecessary. So I'd like to help people realize that and come to their own conclusions themselves. I'm not preaching to them. I'm not saying it's all for everybody, and I'm not saying that if it's high tech, it's good. No, of course not. It's like any other tool. It's who uses the tool and how you use it. That's the critical issue, and always has been and always will be as long as there are human beings on this planet. So I want to help with that and relate it to relocation, to travel in other nations. It's one aspect of it that will come out too. And a lot of stuff I want to do with that. And I hope to be able to get into a situation where people are, I'm able to have interviews and so forth with people and bring others in. It's all being a website called Future Brief, Substack.com. That's important to get the Substack in there. I'll have the link below. Future Brief is intended to help people get a grip on this without bludgeoning them over the head or smacking them with it or preaching a gospel to them that I am not interested in preaching. I do want to have one gospel, which is open your mind and just experience and make your own decisions. You're responsible for your own life, okay? But my responsibility, if any, if I'm going to share anything with you, is I'll try to share things that might help you, and I'll be listening to you. Okay, that is going to be a subscription basis because I can't afford it. I can't go on not paying for all these things, and this I'd like to do is going to be much more ambitious, and it's going to require some money. I don't have to, in order, because I've got to do other things in order to expand it and to really meet needs. And it's not just Panama; it's going to be global. But of course, initially, I let people know this is what's called a soft launch. That is, it's not the formal launch, but big deal. I just let a small group know, and this is what I'm doing right now. So I'm going to suggest to you that if you take the time, I'd appreciate it, to go over, and you have to put your email address in order to enter. That's standard at Substack. It's a community of sites, and they're from, I mean, we've got lots and lots of foodie sites and things like that, but there are all sorts of communities, vlogs, blogs, whatever. A lot of things up there, a wide variety. It's like a little separate internet. The Substack part of it is the operation behind it that organizes it all and keeps us all together, takes care of the payments and keeps track of the subscribers and all this business. It's very useful in that way, and it's much more complete than, say, a Squarespace, where I also run, as I have my current sites, Squarespace. I like Squarespace, but Substack is more complete, and it allows very straightforwardly for a subscription base, and you can either get a free subscription, and that's available in my site, and then you can get a paid subscription, and that gets you more. And in one instance, it's $7 a month, $7 a month, or $70 for a year, which works out to $5.80 something cents, I think, less than $6 a month. And then they have a fourth category called the Founder, and it's a big, expensive one. I don't expect anybody to use it. So, but I don't anticipate anything. I just put it up there, and and I've got to be giving more attention to it initially to get it started. But I'm not losing touch with you. I just want to stress that very strongly. However, I'm going to be adding a lot of stuff over there that might be useful to some of you, and just totally useless to others. So if it's, want to take a look, please do. It's very little in it. And very little. There's an essay up, and there's an introduction of me, because I believe it's very important that people know who's behind the site. And they never read the About section unless you make them. So I push that. And then an essay on one aspect. I think it's important for people to understand. And then a sort of a little summary of some recent tech news that might be of interest to people. This is fundamentally what we're talking about here. I will be having a lot of, I hope eventually a lot of things, but essays at least beginning, talking about how you go about analyzing it, what you're looking for, and how not to do it, and how to do it, and all this sort of stuff. And at the same time, bringing in the tech side of it and giving you a variety of stories that is going on, and so that you can keep up at least a little bit up to date in all these areas. I read 7 days a week, and I read hours and hours every day, and people who know me know that's true. I'm sitting in front of this computer almost constantly. So people say, I need to get a life. I've got one. This is what I love doing, and I love doing it when I know it's helping other people. But this time, it has to be a subscription base. So if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I have great confidence, and I'm going to give it every shot I can. And I wanted you to know about it at this very early stage. And I'll mention it from time to time, because why not? So that is part 2. And it's very pleasing that I have it finally in a position where I can start it. Forgive me if there's very little on it, but there's going to be a lot more to come. And that's the key thing, is you're coming in at the early stage. Very good. Thank you so much for your patience. And I'll see you eventually, one place or another, soon enough. Meantime, go below the video and you can get right over and see that site. I don't actually flash it up on the screen. I'll tell you why. You make an effort. I want you to come because you want to come, not because of some sort of automatic reaction to a picture. If you're interested, you'll come down and you click on it, because I'm interested in dealing with serious people who really want to do something and are willing to take on that responsibility of directing their own lives and not looking to me or anybody else to tell them what to do. So thanks again, and we'll meet again here or somewhere else, whatever.